morning. In this video I'm going to go through my entire system, my setup, how I implement Gtd, getting things done, in my planner system. So I'll be talking about my project section, my someday maybe section, my next actions, and also my calendar and brain dump / inbox and my weeklies. So the first thing I should say is that I don't have one book, I have several books that are, attached to each other. And it's a thick old tome, this, but that's how I like it. I want my whole life to be in here, both work and play, both current projects, someday maybe projects, everything is in here, because I never know when I'll have an idea that I want to explore, insert into the right place of my system, or, when I want to reference an idea that may be in the someday maybe section. So everything needs to be in here because my brain is all over the place all the time. So this needs to be really comprehensive and structured. Okay, enough blathering about that. So the basic structure is that I have two actual sturdy notebooks. These are Leuchtturms. I call them the front book in the front and the back book in the back. And these are held together with gaffer tape. You can't see it because I've made a pretty cover. Well, you can see it here because it's falling apart, but so they sort of form the sturdy backbone of the setup. I've been inspired by the Traveler's Notebook way of doing things, but I prefer having these sturdy notebooks as my sort of cover rather than flimsy leather thingamajigs. I really enjoy writing in something that is flat and hard. Oh yes, and as you can see I have 3 strings around the spine, the gaffer spine. And that's because I have 3 inserts in the middle, which I'll be talking about as we go along. I think the easiest way of showing this is to just go from the front to the back and explain everything. So when I open my book up, the first thing I encounter is my calendar, which I use in the general, or the classic Gtd way. I put things here that are like meetings and deadlines, mandatory stuff. If I should say something about the colors, because everything is color coded, because I have a lot going on both at work and at home, so I really need to see at a glance what it's all about. So I have different colors for different projects. If there's something I'm not sure about, like half-baked plans like this one, I put it in pencil. So that's just the signal for not quite like decided stuff. So I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and behind the flap here I also have Saturday and Sunday. And the reason for this fold is that I've got these Dutch doors that I use for my weeklies and my next actions. And the reason why I want these pages to be narrower is that here at the edge I have what I call my weekly boxes. So Monday doesn't start until here, the second box. This box is just for sort of the highlights of the week or the most important things. So I put deadlines and things that I might need to start working on before I'm in that week. So for example, we're in week 48 now. So when I'm on my weekly spread, which is this one for week 48, I can see that week 49 I need to send a list of books to a person at work, and I also need to apply for, well, it's to do with money. Never mind what it is. I can see what is coming up. And here is a deadline signified by a D in a circle. I need to assess some documents by week 50, which means I have to start reading them here, and so on. So these are the deadlines, the weekly boxes for work, and these ones are the weekly boxes for home. So I like to keep them separated because, well, they're different things. So yes, I just a parenthesis, I'm trying out this month to have the next month as well at the front of my monthly setup. So this is January, even though we're in December. I don't think I'll continue doing this, so we'll just skip that page. Normally I have my future calendars at the very back, in the back book. So here is February, March, April, May, and I skip a spread between each of them because I cut them out and glue them into the front book when it's time. Okay, let's move on to the weeklies. This weekly is looking horrendous, I know, but I don't care. So I've got week 47 because I switched books early this month. So this is November, but let's ignore that for the time being. I have all the weeks in December, so 48, 49, 50, 51, and 52. And they always look the same, Monday, Tuesday, and so on. I am trying out something new, and I'm going to show you the next week because it's cleaner. So I never write the names of the days, just the dates, because I know which order they come in and I need a lot of space to write my actual tasks and meetings and stuff. So this is next week, and I'm trying this new thing where I put a line on either side of the weekly, and this is for crossing off tasks and meetings, you know, everything I need to do during a day. I cross it off here. I've started doing it here, but not, I mean, I think this is a better setup instead of having the line here in the middle. So today I have all these things I need to do, and the time-specific things I have highlighted in yellow because, you know, I need to keep track of the time, and the other things I can do whenever. So when I have, this is pay for tickets, when I've done that, I can cross it off here with my gold pen. And when the day is done, I will just have one uninterrupted line here. On this side, I have my brain dump or inbox. So underneath here, I write any ideas that come to me, things I need to do, or, you know, and I process it. I mean, before I can move to the next week, I need to process what's on my brain dump or inbox. So that's, having it here on the weekly spread actually sort of forces me to process it, because that's kind of my weak, the weak link in my system to actually process things and do my weekly review. Okay, so let's move on. Within these Dutch doors, the whole of this monthly setup, I call it my monthly booklet because there's sort of a, there are cover pages, and these are sort of, well, the contents, these Dutch doors. But I have my next actions as Dutch doors as well. And I have these black and white ones are for work, and the red and white ones are for home. So I have my contexts here. I have administration, I have check or look for, I have contact, I have office, I have assess, I have listen to, I have creative. And then for home, I have talk to husband, talk to other people, creative, which needs more space. I think I'll have 2 pages for that next month. I have find, move, gather, which I also need a lot of space for. I have fix, I have check, and I have test, and mobile/iPad, and computer/print, and errands in my village and errands in town. So this is where I put all my next actions, and I've tried having them elsewhere in my setup, but it really helps to have them in close proximity with my weekly, because everything that needs to be done, you know, actual concrete things to do, I know that they're in this monthly booklet. And then I have my project section in the back here. That's more visionary, more long-term, more like bird's eye view. But here is where I find all my to-dos. Finally, in the monthly booklet, in the back here, you know, the back cover, as it were, I've got my trackers, where I track my temperature and my exercising. So that's also practical to have in my monthly booklet, because I'm reminded, because this is sort of the workhorse part of the system, and since I can see the back cover here, I'm reminded to fill in this tracker. Then, you know, we're still in the front book, but the rest of the front book is for journaling. So everything in here is personal. I prep the pages, and let's see if there's something we can look at. Yeah, why not? Because I journal a lot about planner stuff, so this is not secret in any way. This is what they look like, much more like embellished and pretty, if you like this sort of thing. So the rest of the front book, I prep the pages beforehand, I paint them, I glue stuff onto them, and then in the mornings, as part of my morning routine, I journal. And as you can see here, I have this reminder, because it's a new habit that I'm trying to establish, project journal ×1. Each morning, I need to journal about a project as well. And we'll come to that eventually. I don't do that in the front book. This is just for random journaling. So let's move on to the middle of the setup, the strings. Now, this is kind of specific to me, this first one. It's these are notes for a fantasy world, because I'm world building for a series of novels I might write one day. So these are just, I mean, yeah, if you don't do anything like that, you can just ignore this, but you could have other big projects that you'd like an insert for. So yeah, this is just like reference material, I guess, in GTD terms. Then we come to the someday maybe insert. So this is where all my someday maybe lists go. And I have one tab for each area of my life. But these are just home someday maybe lists. So as you can see, there are quite a lot of areas that I have ideas for. And this might look different for different people, but I have a lot of ideas. So let's take a look at this one, for example. This is the shopping tab. On this side, I have like, what's it called? Like things that I buy again and again that I need to be reminded of, like, you know, toothbrushes and cooking oil, things like that. And here I have things I might get one day, so really someday maybe stuff. We can have a look at cleaning. This is my cleaning spread. I have been inspired by the Fly Lady for things to, you know, things that need cleaning and tidying. This is my list for that, where I am sort of inspired to, oh yeah, I should clean the filter of the tumble dryer, for example. And here I have tips, like specific tips for how to do things. And ideas I might one day get to. So this entire insert is filled with someday maybe stuff. Then, and this is a new addition, this is my project journaling insert. Like I told you just now, every morning I try to journal about one project. And I started this morning and I have divided the page into 4 parts. So I have my goal writing here, like almost like scripting, where you write the perfect outcome. This is the map where I try to sort of break down how do I get to this point. And it's not, I don't put next actions here, I just brainstorm around ways of getting to the perfect outcome. Down here is things I've got going for me, like positive forces in my life. It can be people or just resources within myself or in the like physical world. And here are possible like obstacles and how I can handle them. So hopefully this will be an ongoing thing where I journal about the project. And why I do this is I want to get in the right mindset. So I pick a project that is important for me that day, and I just get into the mindset by concentrating on the goal, how to get there, what I've got going for me, and possible obstacles and how to overcome them. All right, now we have come to the final section, the back book. And this is where I house all my current projects. And we can have a look at this one. All of them have tabs. All of them have a tab in a specific color and pattern, and that corresponds to the color I write the project in. If you remember, on the calendar, I said I color code everything. And of course, I color code everything here as well. So this is a light red project. There's also a dark red project. But this is the light red project. I list my sub-projects here and any additional information here. And for work, this is a work project. I put my someday maybe stuff on the right-hand side. And then when I'm, I transfer that into my computer, into specific folders to do with each project. So whereas I mean, for home projects, I have this insert where I write with pen. But for work, it really, I mean, most of my work, I do it on the computer, so it really helps to have specific documents and folders where I have like ideas for 2022, for example, within each project folder. It works better than having all my ideas in physical form. It's just 2 different ways of handling someday maybe lists. And for home, it really helps to have them in a physical insert, because I don't handle my home life on the computer, but I do handle my home life, no, my work life on the computer. So different tools for different areas. So main project and sub projects here. I cross them off as I go along, and like reference information and someday maybe stuff on the right hand side. Same here. The main project, sub projects, and someday maybe stuff and information. So the whole, and actually I have the same thing for home projects. So, oh, I should say this tab takes me to the work section of the project section, and this one takes me to the home section of my projects. So I have like presents, and now it's for Christmas. I have no ideas apparently. And well, cleaning. What are my current projects? What are the things I want to implement? Like my clutter bag, 1 room per day, things like that. So current projects. And there's one more tab up here, and that's for my calendar pages that I mentioned in the very beginning. So at the very back of the back book, I have my future planning on these calendar spreads, where I skip a spread so that I can cut them out and glue them into the front book when it's time. So, to summarize, the Gtd system, if we follow the flow chart more or less with, you know, how you process things, my inbox is on the right hand side of my weekly spread. So this is where random ideas go. Then I process them and put like time specific things on the calendar. If it's to do with a project, I put it back here, and I choose a tab and a spread depending on which project it is, and I find them using all these tabs, and it's divided by work and home. Then I break down my projects into next actions, which go into the front here, the monthly booklet, according to context. And these contexts are also divided and marked by different tabs to help me navigate. And if I find that something is a someday maybe thing, I go to my someday maybe section for home and write it here on these lists. Or if it's for a work project, I put it on the right hand side of the project spread in the back book. A final thing that doesn't have to do with GTD, but more with my world building, is that when I use up my project spreads, I don't keep them. Instead, I paint over them and world build on those pages. So this back book will become a series Bible for my fantasy series. So beneath these painted pages, there have been project spreads, but I paint over them, I embellish them a little, and then I write my ideas for my fantasy world on top. So in time, this back book will be filled with world building, and I will switch it out for a new back book where I start with new current projects. And since the books are gaffer taped together, it's quite easy to switch out the books. I should also say that I switch out the front book every month. So come January, I will remove this front book. I will cut out the January calendar, and put it at the front of a new front book. And I will have fresh Dutch doors for my weeklies and next actions, and new journaling pages. So I use a lot of paper, but that's how I like it. This book is not only for planning, but for memory keeping and world building, and basically art as well. So, and crafting, you know. So this book really houses everything. Any questions, put them down below.